Every adventuring party makes the same mistake exactly once. They picture a single enemy, the Dark Lord, the one villain at the end of the dungeon they're marching toward. And then they walk through the door and discover the truth. Which is that there is no single enemy. There's an entire ecosystem of them. Different creatures, different motives, different methods. Most of whom have never heard of each other and want completely different things from you. The mistake newcomers to security make is identical. They picture the hacker. One guy, hood up, dark room, green text. And that picture is so wrong that it will actively hurt your ability to defend yourself, because you cannot defend against an enemy you fundamentally misunderstood. Welcome back. I'm the Architect. For 4 episodes, we've looked inward. What we protect, how we prioritize, what our data is worth, what laws bind us. Today, we finally turn around and face outward. The threat landscape, the map of the enemy. And the single most useful question you can ask about any threat, the one professionals ask first, is not how do they attack, it's why. Because the why tells you almost everything else. So let's walk the map, faction by faction. Know your enemy tier list. The organizing principle is motivation, because what someone wants dictates what they'll target, how long they'll work, and whether you specifically were even the point. First faction, and the largest by an enormous margin, Cybercriminals. The motive is money. Pure, uncomplicated, almost reassuring in its simplicity. They are not ideological. They have nothing personal against you. They are running a business just like you. And their business is converting your problems into their profit, by whatever route is the cheapest. They steal the data we tiered last episode and sell it. They run the ransom schemes we keep circling. They commit fraud at scale. And here's the most important thing to understand about the financially motivated criminal. They are an optimizer. They are looking for the best return on their effort, which means, overwhelmingly, they do not care who you are. They are not hunting you. They are casting an enormous net, hitting millions of targets automatically, and pure cold economics says some percentage will have left a door open. If that's you, you weren't chosen. You were simply standing in the path of a process. This is the most likely threat the average person or company will ever face, by a wide, wide margin. Second faction, nation states. And this is where the picture changes completely. The motive's not money. It's national interest. Espionage, stealing the secrets of other governments and intellectual property of foreign companies. Positioning, quietly burrowing into another nation's power grids and pipelines and water systems, not to act today, but to already be inside on the day it matters. And sometimes, sabotage outright. Nation-state actors are a different species of threat for one reason: resources. Effectively unlimited budgets, the best talent a government can buy, custom weaponry, and something almost no other attacker has: patience. A criminal needs to get paid this quarter. A national intelligence program is content to spend 2 years getting in, and another 3 sitting silently inside, waiting. They are sophisticated, relentless, and they have time. The good news for most of you is that they are extremely selective. They spend that firepower on targets of genuine strategic value. You generally have to be holding something a government wants to ever feel their full attention. But if you are, this is the hardest adversary in the entire monster manual. And we will spend real time on them because they have a name: advanced persistent threats. Hold on to that. Third faction, Hacktivists. The motive is ideological. They attack to make a point, to punish an organization whose behavior they've judged, to embarrass, to protest. They typically want attention rather than money or secrets, so their methods skew toward the loud and visible. Defacing a website, knocking a service offline, dumping documents to humiliate. Less sophisticated than a nation state on average, but motivation makes them unpredictable, because they aren't following the money. They're following a grievance, and grievances don't do cost-benefit analysis. Fourth faction, and the one that everybody forgets, because it isn't outside the walls at all. Insiders. The threat that already has a key, because we gave it to them. Sometimes it's malicious, the disgruntled employee, the one being paid to walk data out the door, the worker on their way to a competitor with a copy of everything. But far more than often, the insider threat isn't malicious at all. It's the well-meaning person who clicked the wrong link, misconfigured the storage, emailed the spreadsheet to the wrong address. No villainy required. Just an ordinary human having an ordinary bad day on the inside of every wall you built to keep threats out. This one is so important and so misunderstood that it gets its own episode later. And finally, at the bottom of our tier list, where everyone actually begins, script kiddies. The name is dismissive and earned. These are unskilled attackers running tools that more talented people built, with little understanding of how any of it works. They couldn't write an attack to save their lives, but they don't need to. They download one. Don't overfear them, but don't dismiss them either, especially in the day and age of AI. Because the uncomfortable modern truth is that powerful attack tools are now cheap, rentable, and pointable by people with no skill whatsoever. The barrier to entry has collapsed. The clumsy attacker now holds a sharp weapon they didn't have to forge. Step back and look at the whole map at once, and the lesson of the episode appears. There is no such thing as a hacker. There's a landscape, a whole ecosystem of different enemies who want different things, bring different resources, and show different levels of patience and skill. And how you defend depends entirely on which of them realistically wants what you have. This is the piece that makes the entire arc click into place. Remember risk from episode 4? Likelihood times impact? The threat landscape is how you finally fill in the likelihood with something real. Are you a small business? Then your likely threat is a financially motivated criminal running an automated net, and you defend against volume and opportunism. Do you hold defense secrets? Then a patient, devastating nation state is genuinely in your threat model, and the calculation changes completely. You don't defend against an abstraction called hackers. You defend against the specific factions that have an actual reason to want what you specifically hold. Different kingdoms face different enemies, and a smart ruler knows exactly which monsters roam their particular border. Your quest objective. Ask yourself the professional's first question about your own life and your own organization. Who would actually want my data and why? Be honest and be specific. For most individuals, the truthful answer is a financially motivated criminal who has never heard your name and never will, scooping you up in a net meant for 1 million people at once. It's not an insult, it's clarity. Because the moment you correctly identify which enemy actually wants you, your defenses can finally stop being generic and start being aimed. And with that, the map of this first arc is complete. We know what we protect, the 3 laws, how we choose, risk, what our treasure's worth, the data, the laws that bind us, compliance, and now the enemy arrayed against us, the threat landscape. We have built the whole kingdom and named everyone who wants it to fall. So next time, we stop describing the enemy and start studying their craft. Because every attack, from the clumsiest script kiddie to the most patient nation state, tends to unfold in the same recognizable stages. There is a pattern, a sequence, and once you can see it, you can break it. Next time, the kill chain. how every attack unfolds step by step, and the beginning of our second arc. Welcome to the Monster Manual. I'm the Architect. We'll talk soon.